South African golf has much to be proud of. There are many reasons that we should be cherishing and protecting the history and traditions of our sport. Golf in South Africa is consistent and it's uncorrupt. It has high standards and we have maintained them over a long period of time. Therefore, it's critical and correct for us to remember and pay tribute to those who have made golf the great game that it is in South Africa. And it gives me great pleasure now to call on a gentleman that without his help, without the massive knowledge that he has about the history of golf in South Africa, we wouldn't be where we are today. There's absolutely no question in my mind about that. I'd like to call up Peter Sauerman.
We pay tribute to Jock Bruce, the enormous contribution he made, firstly as a champion golfer, which he inevitably was, and also to his endeavors as a club professional, somebody who was supporting the game, supporting the amateur golfers in the way that he did. And we salute a great golfer. Thank you.
I promise you, he's the greatest gentleman I ever met. I never saw him without a smile on his face, wonderful coach, wonderful player. But he also had this wonderful family, and he's given South African golf something to remember and cherish for a long time. And Swartkops is a very special place. And to the Hayes family, well done. He deserves it completely.
I think my grandfather Otway, as Dale would know, and Adam was a consummate golf professional. Chatting briefly, what he's done for golfers is indescribable. He's been there for 56 years, which I think is absolutely amazing for one person. He taught golf, he promoted golf, he played at a very high level. I mean, in 1952 was the highlight of his career, I would think, when he beat Bobby Locke for the first time that a South African has in 17 years, which is absolutely fantastic. Brian, my father, has been there for 44 years. So between Brian and Otway, who's been there for 56 years, they have over 100 years of service, which is absolutely amazing. I think that must be some sort of a record. And then the Golf Professional Club Pro Award is named after Otway, which is absolutely fantastic, and I'm honored to be here.
And we go back to the 1930s to meet him for the first time. This was a time when every golf club had hundreds of caddies. Nobody played golf without a caddy. At Royal Cape in 1935-36, there were 130 caddies. And I'm quite sure there were at Mowbray and at Westlake and at the other clubs just as many. And these guys obviously became interested in the game and wanted to play the game themselves. And they did. But they couldn't play on the golf courses. They created their own golf courses. They opened up areas of the Cape Flats and smoothed out fairways and put down greens. And as you'll see on your programs, in the vicinity of Royal Cape in 1937, such a course was laid out on the Cape Flats amongst the sand dunes by Peter Lowe, and caddy competitions were organized. Some people say it's still Royal Cape to this day, but actually it's not quite. Royal Cape has improved a bit. But there was this enormous interest in the game, but it needed to be organized. And that's where Peter Lowe came in. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we are today. There can be no doubt, as I said earlier, that Peter Lowe played a very special and important role, one which needs to be recognized and the story told. I've tried to tell you the story. I hope I have. That's what we are doing, what I'm trying to do here this evening. And it was with the greatest pleasure that I will induct Peter Lowe into the South African Golf Hall of Fame. Thank you.
It now gives me great pleasure to call on a gentleman that was one of the finest amateur golfers in South Africa in the 60s and 70s, Roydon Pybus.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to say I'm very proud to be able to do the induction for David Simons as one of South Africa's leading amateur golfers. I think it's a great privilege that myself, as a lifelong amateur, can put forward David into the Golf Hall of Fame.
I think that everyone who knew my dad will agree with me when I say that my dad was a wonderful person, on and off the golf course. A few people have been in touch with us since the news of him being inducted into the Hall of Fame got around, and I think they all had the same thing to say about him, that he truly deserves this, and that it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. He was an absolute gentleman and really a wonderful sportsman and a really good role model as well.
It gives me great pleasure to ask Andrew Malangeni to please come up here, sir, and receive the Harry Bruce Award for your incredible passion for this wonderful game of golf.
I was in the so-called Rivonia trial with Mandela, Sisulu, Mbeki, Senior, and others. I spent exactly 26 years and 4 months on Robben Island. And while I was there, something very strange happened to me. Why is that this? I can't hear this. You know, we are made to work along the seaside, pulling out bamboos, you know, from the sea, etc., and throwing them on the ground. What do I pick up? 3 golf balls. I didn't believe my eyes. I said to myself, what does this mean? I'm going to smuggle them into my cell because I had completely forgotten anything about golf. Completely forgotten. But when I picked up these 3 golf balls, I said, my goodness. Anyway, I managed to smuggle them into my cell and hid them somewhere there among my books. When we were released in '89, I was able, of course, to tell them, and I said, these I'm going to keep for the rest of my life. I started to play golf, sometimes here at Clovelly. Mr. Raymond was very kind to us. He says, anytime you can come and play. And I've been doing that. Don't know what happened. I ran short of golf balls, and I used those balls, golf balls, which I thought I was going to keep for the rest of my life. They are lost.
It is the most humbling opportunity for me to accept in appreciation the honor you bestowed upon me this evening. The condition under which I find myself in at my point in age indicates that your organization has a broad objective. Acknowledgement of experience and contribution by individuals or groups is more important than looking around for the same. Our beloved country that we all love needs a caring society that you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Raymond Ackerman.
Wendy is a very humble person. She's always played her golf at Clovelly. She has worked full-time her whole life, hasn't been able to practice like many other champions have had time to practice. And she's just played her golf. She's followed her career. She's always supported everything at our club, despite all the honors she's received. And Wendy, I think you are such a worthy winner of this excellent entry into the Hall of Fame.
To my family, for always being there, to my mum and dad, I think they've walked more miles than anybody in this, anybody I know. Through 30 South African tournaments, they walked every single hole every day, and that's only the SA champs. So thank you, and thank you, mum and dad.
Bobby Cole's swing was absolutely phenomenal. Bobby Cole won the British Amateur Championship, but he was the only South African to ever do that in 1966. He then went to play at Augusta National the next year and got drawn in the first 2 rounds to play with the great Sam Snead. They had a policy, well, they still have a policy, I believe, in the Masters that they pit you with previous champions. And Sam Snead, being a previous champion, had the bad luck to play with Bobby. And the first hole, Sam Snead is drawn with this little guy, and they hit their drives off the first tee. And Sam Snead automatically walked to the longest drive. And Bobby Cole had to say, Mr. Snead, excuse me, this is your ball back here. And Sam Snead walked back and played his second shot. The second hole, the par 5, where Louis Oosthuizen made a double eagle. Same thing happened. They both hit their drive. The hole turns a little bit from right to left and goes slightly downhill. So you can't see exactly where your drive finishes. And the same thing happened, and Sam Snead walked to the longest drive. Bobby Cole said, excuse me, Mr. Snead, this is your ball back here. And as he walked back past Bobby, he said, I got to talk to these fellows at Wilson. The balls they're making are rubbish.
When I was playing, there were two guys that I really did admire and actually envy for their ability. One, of course, was Bobby, and the other was, in fact, Dale Hayes, would you believe? Dale was a tremendous player. I will get on to Bobby. It's not, but Dale, you'll recall, those who recall those days, had that very quick swing. He had a really fast pair of hands, particularly when there were ladies around. I had to get apologies to Alison and Linda, but as a 73-year-old, I have to try and get a lick in occasionally, Archie. But it's a pleasure for me and an honor to present Bobby to the Hall of Fame as an inductee. Whereas Dale had the quick swing and the good hands, Coley has had this elegant, graceful golf swing, and he hit the ball absolutely prodigious distances. And the irritating thing about it was that he made it look so easy. Bobby really deserves to be in the Hall. He's a great addition to the Hall of Fame, and it's most deserving. Congratulations.
Golf is a science and an art, a study of a lifetime in which you exhaust yourself, but never your subject. It is a contest or a duel calling for courage, skill, strategy, and self-control, a test of temper, a trial of honor, and a reveal of character. And it affords you the chance to play the man and act a gentleman, and also to be a heroine and still a lady, as we see with Wendy and our great Sally Little. Thank you very much. It's a great honor for me, and I'm very proud of it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to finish off with a big thank you to Barry Cohen for all his hard work in making the museum a reality. Barry has done it at a huge personal cost, and he's just dedicated to it. And as I said earlier, if you pop in to Obai, you'll be amazed at what you see. It is phenomenal. It really ranks with anything you'll see anywhere in the world. So thank you very much, Barry.